What is up? We're at week 8. It's great. I'm feeling good. It's actually been snowing outside, It's a little bit chilly, but the results are coming thick and fast. So we're going to head to our GMs. How's Lasky? How you think?
Good, thanks, Ola.
House of 03.
House of 03, baby.
Super.
Right, it's sorting the roads. It's snowing.
One Bar Wildy, Parantics Express.
Hell yeah. All good, man.
And Lancashire Lambert. Shutting the door.
Oh, good. It's not shut this week.
Well, let's reopen that door and let's reopen these discussions to talk about the Southwest. The first team, seems like a team that we always talk about first, especially in this division, is H-Town, home place of Travis Scott, and formerly home place of James Harden. That is the Houston Rockets, who are sitting at 500 right now. Bray, lead us off.
Yeah, so we talked about these guys, 3 weeks ago? And I was very happy that James Harden had been traded, and I'm still very happy. They've been fantastic. They're 8-5, sans Harden, and they're all these guys. Like, you just love to see a team like this. They've all got a chip on their shoulder. They try really, really hard. They all go balls to the wall when they're playing, and they've been really good defensively. And now we're starting to see Stephen Silas come into his own, and he's really been able to put his coaching mark on things, which is great, and doesn't have that kind of James Harden thing hanging over him. So really, really happy about that. They were 1-2 this week, with L's to the Spurs and splitting games against the Thunder. Now, in the Spurs game, DeMar DeRozan was just the best player on the floor. It was a close one, which they lost. And OKC, they managed to lose even when SGA is out, which isn't ideal because, honestly, they're in the same division. And while the Spurs have a better record, Houston should be looking at them going, we're equals. We need to get these wins in where they're possible, beat teams we're better than, making sure they're winning enough games against these easier matchups, I think. The West is an absolute bloodbath. They're 500 and they are 10th? It's just not even funny.
Front runner for most improved, Christian Wood, goes down week to week with a right ankle sprain. He's supposed to be evaluated on a weekly basis during this week. How much does this hurt their chances of really making the playoffs, Ray?
I think here's where you'll start to see them drop off. At the moment, you could put them in a similar bracket to the Warriors, the Kings, the Rockets, the Grizzlies, and then they're going to fall to that next tier of the Pelicans, Thunder. Mavs are down there at the moment, and I think you'll just see them drop off because Christian Wood is an absolute animal, and 2 weeks is a long time. Maybe they get lucky with COVID breaks from other teams, because if guys on other teams are out, it gives them a chance because they do play hard every night. But it's going to be complete chance as to whether that happens or not, and they're really going to miss Wood.
One guy that has picked up the slack for the Rockets recently is Eric Gordon. He's been averaging 23 points this week. He's both started and come off the bench. What have you seen from EG?
He turned back the clock. And we kind of he was very much a spot-up shooter with James Harden on the floor because James just has the ball so much. But Eric can create. He's got a little bit of that Lou Will in him where he can just go out and get buckets. And you just love to see it. He's obviously a journeyman in the league. He's been around a long time, knows what he's doing, and isn't afraid to take a lot of shots and score over 20.
Speak about turning back the clock. This next team is doing just that this season, and the Rockets just lost to them in the last game, and that is the San Antonio Spurs. So let's head down to Texas with House Lesky.
As we've established before, best team in Texas. So before I talk about the Houston game, last time we spoke about Spurs, which was 2 weeks ago, they were 8-6. Now they're 13-10. So they went on a 5-4 run since then. Pretty good. And 2-0 this week. One of the games being the Rockets. And I managed to catch first half of the Rockets game. And one thing to note is that LaMarcus Aldridge is injured. So Jakob Poeltl stepped in as the starting center. And there's also been additional minutes for players like Lyles and Eubanks. And watching that game, you just see the energy from the Spurs team. They were just so active, running around. I think they had 5 blocks in the first quarter. And it was just super fun to watch the Spurs team play. And yeah, Jakob Poeltl, last game, I think he got 19 points. Him and DeMar Rosen were a really great tandem down the stretch against the Timberwolves in a game which was much closer than it should have been. But I really like where the Spurs are going.
Yeah, in that Timberwolves game, Spurs are actually down 9, 6 minutes to go. And then DeRozan has this monster dunk, which really sparked the run, and good play from Patty Mills. Let's speak about DeMar. So he had his third 30-point game. And he's done that in back-to-back games. And considering the Spurs are 13-10, what have you been seeing from him in terms of leading this team and being the number one option?
Great point on that DeRozan dunk. I'm not sure if it's just DeRozan. Well, whenever I see DeRozan dunk, when I see a DeRozan dunk, I just think of the word crunch. Like the way he dunks, it just reminds me of a crunching dunk every time I see him. Maybe it's just the way he clocks his arm back or the way he just approaches it. I just think it's just such a crunching dunk. And I only think DeRozan when I think of the word crunch. And I just love the idea of calling him Captain Crunch every time I see him doing a dunk. That's just something I've always spotted and just noticed. I'm not sure if anyone else agrees with it, but in my head, DeRozan's Captain Crunch just because he always has crunching dunks. But back to his overall game.
Season.
Go on.
Yeah, every season he at least has 1 or 2 monstrous dunks. So yeah, I do agree. 100%. He'll never
always in traffic as well. Always in traffic. He's not like doing 360s on the break. He's yamming it with like 3 people in the lane. Love it.
Set defense, man.
Yeah. And every time it seems like it's a dunk where you have to go, ooh, every time. It's ridiculous.
He is arguably my favorite in-game dunker, and where Bray said, yeah, I might say crunch, because where I see it, I just think, he just crunched a guy, or just a guy and the rim. This is, what's it called? It's a collateral. The rim and the guy get crunched together. So I was watching, so obviously when you watch DeMar, I needed some stats to back up my thinking of it, and I saw actually last year the Spurs were ranked 30th in percentage shots at the rim, frequency of shot at the rim frequency, which are 30th lowest in the league. And this year they're now middle of the pack. And part of it is Lamar's ability to drive to the rim. Only Trae Young has got more drives only Trae Young has percentage of points have come from the 3-throw line more than DeMar. And only 3 other players have got more drives per game than DeMar. So he's making conceited efforts to drive to the rim, and this has helped him. I think he's 12th in the league at free throw rates, at free throw attempts. So he averages 7 free throws a game at his highest clip at 89%. And because he's now becoming the primary ball handler, while Spurs still got some of their young guards still learning how to run an offense, with the ball in DeMar's hands, he's getting to the rim and he's also assisting. This is his highest ever assist average in this season. I think he's averaging 7 assists a game, which is roughly about 14th in the league. So it's really nice just to see him take that leadership role, especially considering now that LaMarcus is out, and we know that DeMar is the definitive number 1 option when it comes to ball handling and taking the shot as well. So I really love that maturity from DeMar to be able to do this, to go to the rim and be more effective as an overall player, not just scoring, because that was always him in Toronto. He was primarily just a scorer, couldn't provide much in other aspects of the game because Kyle Lowry was doing much of the ball handling. Now he's transitioned to the role in San Antonio. We're seeing a different Lamar, and love it.
Yeah, he's come up clutch in both of those games for this week. He, like I said, he had a huge dunk, and in the Rockets game, he had a massive and 1 with about 1:03 left, which put the Spurs up 5. Just a side note on the Spurs, Derek White is back in the lineup. He's getting some good minutes for them. He's come out in good productions, and something that's always it's not shocked me, but something that's so great about the Spurs is that it's always the next person steps up, and that is instilled in their culture.
What will be fantasy for also Spurs is that they had a bit of an easy schedule past couple of weeks. They've got back-to-back games against the Warriors coming up, which will be super fun to get a sense of where both teams are. So that the back-to-back Spurs Warriors game should be really fun. It should be a great game to watch up the week coming up.
Let's head to the third team in this division that we're going to talk about and head down to Memphis, Tennessee in the Southern State and talk about the Memphis Grizzlies. Like Lambert, how has the week been for Memphis?
Well, you come to me at the wrong time, really, with Memphis, because previous to this week, they'd won 7 games on the bounce, and now they've just lost 3 on the spin. So a little bit of a dip. So you could say there's a bit of a draft coming through the door at the moment, but it still remains firmly shut. Started off the week with a win against the Spurs, which was actually their biggest ever win versus the Spurs. And they actually set a franchise record of 9 players in double figures in that game. So good result there. And then they lost against the Pacers, Rockets, and then Pelicans. So they're 9-9 overall, perfectly balanced as all things should be. They also score on average 109.8 points per game and concede 109.8 points a game. So they are a balanced team.
That is so sick. That is so cool.
Every game going to overtime. Nobody's winning.
Go on.
No, I was going to say that what really impresses me about Memphis is the young core and how they're coming along. You've seen Xavier Tillman get minutes because JV's been out. Brandon Clark's finally turning the corner. He's been playing really well around the rim. Desmond Bane, their rookie's getting good minutes. And you've got Tyus Jones, who's their backup point guard, who came from the Timberwolves. Is there anybody that you want to shout out of their young guns?
I think there's definitely quite a few promising players. I think you've mentioned quite a few of them already. And even in terms of the defeats, you can just look at the defeats that they've had of late. I don't think there's anything to be worried about because they have missed a few of the experienced players. So like Valanciunas, for example, he's been out since I think the 17th of January, and he's obviously come back in and he's still had a good impact since he's come back in. Granted, the fact that they still lost against the Pelicans the other day, but I think they missed him most in that game against the Pacers where Sabonis just went off and got, I think it was 32 points, 13 rebounds, and they could have done with someone like Valanciunas on the court. But they've definitely still been in touch with these youngsters in and around the team, and now you get the experience of Valanciunas back, and I think they're a promising side, and I'm not concerned about Memphis at all. Feels good.
The stat that I picked up for Memphis for this week is they lead the league in steals and deflections, causing 16.5 a game. They also have the most points off turnovers, which is something which is really positive for them going forward. And we always talk about how you can score as many points, but defense is where you really win games. So I agree with you on that point. I think Memphis are going to do just fine. Let's head to this team. This is the team I've been looking forward to talk about all week because what an interesting week it's been for the New Orleans Pelicans. They have gone undefeated this week. They're 3-0 and they're climbing back to some normality. They're 10-12 overall. House of 03. So with the 3 wins, you must be feeling good.
Right? It's nothing like seeing your team from House of 03 going 3-0 for this week. Absolutely loving it. I think it's a good turn and a good sign for going forward because I think I can speak for a lot of people seeing that coming back at the beginning, like a hype team, like everyone's waiting to see this team play and everything and see how everything goes down. And it's not going quite the way they expected. So it's nice to see them turn that around this week.
Yeah, so they beat the Suns. They beat the Pacers, and what a close game that was. Miles Turner misses a shot at the buzzer, and Lonzo plays great defense, great help defense too, and it literally just rims out. And then they play the Grizzlies. But Jord, there is something very interesting that happened this week. Is in the Pacers game, Zion nearly broke the rim in that game, which was, he's a big boy coming down the lane. You're like, oh no, okay.
Yeah.
My question to all of the GMs is, other than Zion, who had the more impressive basket-breaking play? Was it Mr. Chocolate Thunder, Darryl Dawkins, who smashed the glass, or was it Shaq, who dunked the ball and dragged down the whole basket, nearly collapsed.
For me, it's got to be Shaq. Like, you saw it come down, and even he had to like run away from it. Like, it almost took him out.
What's everyone else saying?
I disagree, because Shaq, he just held on to it, and he's just an enormous dude. Like, Daryl, like, just bloody ripped the thing off. Like, he was a furious dunker as well. And those things were like, then they weren't springy like we got today. Damn, those things were nailed to the wall. Like, give it to Chocolate Thunder for me.
He also did it twice, so you know it wasn't a fluke. And R.I.P. Chocolate Thunder. Any more?
I mean, all I would say is that Shaq also has a glass-shattering rim dunk, not in game, but against Amon Rashad.
Well, that's amazing.
So we know on those older backboards, we know Shaq was capable of it. I'd probably side with Jordan here. I mean, the fact that he pulls down the whole thing. I was lucky he didn't get injured, because the way the whole thing swings, it looked like the shot clock was about to take his head off. So I was very lucky. But yeah, it's a funny story about Chocolate Thunder. David Stern had to call him up and say, "Hey, you need to stop breaking these backboards, or I'm going to suspend you." Because he's just stopping games with all this glass flying everywhere.
The point you made about Ahmad Rashad and Shaq's interview. If anybody hasn't seen that interview, please watch it. They're playing a 1-on-1. And Ahmad Rashad's like, "Is that all you got?" And then he chimes it, and then he breaks the ring. So good. Oh, so good. Moving back to the Pels, let's talk about the wins. Like I said, Suns, Pacers, and the Grizzlies. Zion had a great game against the Suns. He played so well. He had 28, 7, and 6. But somebody who's been stepping up for them recently is Lonzo Ball. So he made 4 threes in both the Suns game and the Grizzlies game, and he had 5 threes in the Pacers game. Are we seeing him transition into a scorer for that team?
I hope so, because I think if you look back, Lonzo Ball coming in, I think a lot of people saw him as like that passing facilitator, but also someone who can contribute big time on the scoring end as well. So to see, I would love to see that nice flip over and that more aggressiveness and assertiveness, both on when he's shooting and driving to the hoop. So yeah, I think that's a very welcome change to the Pelicans overall. Yeah, definitely.
Must also be looking over and seeing all these LaMelo highlights and be like, hey, don't forget about me. I was here before you.
Honestly, yeah, I think LaMelo Ball coming into the league has definitely sparked the fire in the belly.
Yeah, he's waking up real early.
Yeah,
he's got that motivation, seeing LaMelo on every damn Sports Center highlight.
Literally, before he can relax, but now his brother's in. He's like, nah, I'm not letting him have this.
Well, we're going to move to the last team in this division, and that is the Dallas Mavericks. 2-1 this week, 10-14 overall. It's been a disappointing season for the Mavs, Mr. Wildsmith. Are you still satisfied with your pick?
I actually am still satisfied with my pick. As I've covered through to the point up till now, we haven't had all of our guys. I'm not going to harp too much on about all that, because I've done all that in previous weeks. We had a good week. We had a massive loss, although, to the Golden State Warriors, where we allowed Kelly Oubre to get 40 points, which was, of course, his career high. It's hard to be prepared for something like that. Kelly Oubre, of all people, after the season he's been having, pops off for 40 with 7 threes, mind you. It's going to be tough to win that game, especially when you've got Steph Curry out there as well, and Draymond getting 15 assists. So, we came out on top this week. We went back. We beat Golden State. We also got a win against the Hawks as well. But we allowed yet another player to get a career high in John Collins as well. So And then in the second game against Golden State, Curry got 57, which is only 5 short of his career high. So there's really some defensive stuff that needs to be figured out here. I have faith in Rick Carlisle for it. Fantastic coach that I've talked about in previous weeks with these guys. So I'm sure they're going to figure it out. Now we have everybody back. Still satisfied with this pick because throughout the next 12 games, I have them penciled in to winning at least 7 of them, which is 7 out of the next 12, which would then bring them to 500. And by the next time I cover these guys, which will be on the 1st of March, we'll play all but 2 of those 12 games. So, that's why I think by the next time I cover them, we're going to be looking a lot better.
Are you making a Bray prediction? Are you doing a Bray next time? Heat are going to be 500. Bray is 1 week to go. Is not looking good. We can't see Bray's face. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Not going to be able to do it.
Well, look, let me tell you, right? So what they got coming up is they got Pelicans. So we'll call them off. Pistons, Rockets, Magic, Thunder, and Trailblazers I penciled in as wins. Okay. And then the 4 remaining games, which are big ones, which may or may not, we're not sure. They got Celtics, Nets, Sixers. So yeah, look, we'll have to see. It might go 1 or 2 ways on some of those other games, but I reckon they got at least 7 of those next 12 now that everybody's back and they're going to be clicking on all cylinders.
Kristaps had a really good week in the Hawks win. He had a huge tip in late to close out the game for you guys. First Warriors game, he had 25, 5 and 3. And in the Warriors win, he had 18 points, 10 rebounds. I was reading an article, Wildy, about potentially getting some more help for Luka. And there was a lot of free agents. And this is going to be quite funny because on the list of free agents, we had Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, we had Wilson Chandler, but we had Damari Carroll is also on the free agency list. Or should I say Damari Coral? Who would you like?
Spell it wrong.
Who would you like them to pick up out of those 3?
Surprise, surprise! It will be Damari Carroll.
The Junkyard Dog.
The Junkyard Dog. It's definitely going to be him. Well, it's not good. I'm definitely not going to be him. I don't know. I think that is the person that they should acquire because he's a really good 3-and-D guy. I just mentioned how they're lacking on defense. They're always allowing at least one person to go off crazy, whether they're winning or losing the game. Damari Carroll is somebody that doesn't need the ball. He's going to be able to stop people like that one-on-one and just be that defensive stopper that they need. And meanwhile, hit some open threes whilst people are collapsing on Luka as he drives in and kicks the ball out. So that would be who I'd like to see personally for them to get. That would be a really good pickup for them, and hopefully a resurgence for the Junkyard Dog.
That would be a match made in heaven. I would absolutely love that for you to be paired up with Damari again. That would be great.
Reunited, yeah.
And it feels so good.
Yeah, reunited feels so good.
Oh, damn, look at those pipes.
Oh.
So that closes up the Southwest Division. We are going to take a quick break and then head to the Central. Southwest done. Let's head to the Central. And let's head to Chi-Town, home place of Kanye. The Chicago Bulls, the team that I actually predicted are going to make the playoffs. It's been a bit of a bad week. We've got 1-2 this week for the Bulls, 8 and 13 overall, so starting to slip further down the standings. George, talk to me.
Yeah, it's concerning. I can already hear Saltbury saying, "I told you so." But like we said, we were more of the hopeful minds. Like you said, 1-2 this week. They lost to Orlando, and then they also beat them, and then they lost to New York Knicks. So yeah, within those games as well, unfortunately, they also got an injury to marketing. So it's not very sweet topping on the dessert which they ideally wanted. So yeah, and he's probably going to be out for 2 to 4 weeks as well.
Yeah, that's 2 bad losses. That's why I was wincing at it, and I was like, oh, they should be beating the game. And especially in the game against the Knicks, they were down huge in that game, and they had a massive comeback to really sort of just keep them in the game. It didn't look good. Yeah.
At the rate it's going, and when you see it game after game, it just seems like a massive tragedy story for them, you know? Especially as the season goes on, whether it's like an injury comes about or they were just close to a win and then they lose out. And yeah, it's concerning, especially seeing as we do really want to see them make that push. But yeah, question marks are up and high as to even if
Bray's loving this.
Yeah,
Bray is absolutely loving this. He's loving it. He's such a villain on this show. Bray, I will give you this though. You talked about how, you know, they're not going to hold up because they're shooting at an incredible rate, and you've hit the nail on the head. You know, in the first game against the Knicks, they made 6 threes and they shot 17%. And then in the first game against the Magic, they only made 9 threes, shooting 30%. And then they beat the Magic, they shot 50% from 3. So you were spot on, bro. Got to give you some props for it.
Look, I mean, I just know this team. There's not enough talent on it. And to make matters worse, and this is really unlucky, they lost Wendell Carter Jr., who is by far their best defender.
Yeah.
And is actually positive when he's on the court, unlike people like someone like Kobe White, who's a terrible defender and always a negative. And then now they've lost Markkanen, and all this adds up to is a lot of minutes for Daniel Gafford. Nothing wrong with Daniel Gafford, but he doesn't need that many minutes.
Speaking on that point, can I quickly talk to you about that? Because I can never get his name right. The first game against the Magic, he was getting torched by Vooch. He was a starting center. He got benched after 2 or maybe 3 minutes. Vooch had 11 points on him in 2 or 3 minutes. He was absolutely sunning him. And I think the commentators made a really good point of suggesting what happened. It was a simple screen, and obviously as a center, rookie center, you're used to dropping back because you're assuming the player's going to roll. Vooch dropped back, hit a 3 in his face. Again, same play again, hit another 3. And then you got him in the post, just did some nice moves on him 2 or 3 times, and then what's his face? Billy Donovan had enough. It was like, geez, come sit down, put Thaddeus Young on because you are just getting cooked.
Yeah.
2 minutes in, Vooch had 11 points. Geezer got benched. He was having an awful game.
Put him in the host. Oh no!
Vooch is a bad man, and Daniel Gafford is not in the same conversation. Like, it's just not even. It's not even close.
I was like, this is the Bulls starting center. Wowzers! This is not good.
There's a great story. TJ McConnell spoke about it on the JJ Redick podcast when he played Isaiah Thomas in the MVP year, and they said they ran the same play 3 times, and you could hear Brad Stevens say, "Run it again," because he scored, and then he went to the bench and he was like, "Yeah." So that's a very, very good point. Now, for the fun bit, the person that I saw come off the bench in the last game was Cristiano Felicio. Out of nowhere, I was reading the box score and I was like, "Oh my god!" So if you guys don't know, Cristiano Felicio has one of the worst contracts in the NBA. He's got 4 years for $32 million. I know that guy must be loving life because he hardly plays. My question to you guys is, what's the worst contract of all time? I've got some short list if you want me to read it out.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so we've got Chandler Parsons, 4 years, $94 million with the Grizzlies in 2016. Mm-hmm. We've got Rashard Lewis, 6 years, $118 million with the Magic in 2007. Oh. And we've got Noah with 4 years, $72 million with the Knicks, 2016. I know you guys have probably come up with other ideas, maybe Arenas. I know you're going to say that.
Quickly, I would say Timothy Mozgov next. whoever wants to go next.
Tell us about it, Ed.
I don't know. Obviously, I don't know the contract off the top of my head, but I think with those, you could sort of understand it because they had at least one aspect of their game that made sense. Chandler Parsons has some injury concerns. I mean, that's why the contract went downhill. Yeah, exactly. And then you've got Rashard Lewis, who was still a elite shooter, a stretch four, and that time when there wasn't that many stretch fours. I can understand that. I think it was the Lakers.
Yeah,
I have no idea what they went on, just a mad spree that summer because they gave Luol Deng a lot of money. But at least Luol Deng had some sort of positives. Timothy Mozgov, fuck knows what he could do. Luol Deng, yeah. And then we picked him up for trade assets. And I think we just finished paying him off, even though he hasn't played for us past 3 or 4 years. So I don't know what the contract is, but it's Timothy Mozgov for me personally.
4 years, 64 million.
That Noah one is because he was basically retired, and then the Knicks gave him a load of money, and it was like, what is going on? Like, he's literally been on his holidays. Like,
that was the Phil Jackson time when he was.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's the Phil Jackson version of the player. That Phil Jackson didn't want to do it, and they just gave him a ton of money. And apparently, he was like sleeping at the time that New York was like in peak time because he just wouldn't even go to New York to manage it.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, bad contracts. Cristiano Felicio always makes me laugh. Literally stealing money from the Chicago
Oh my God. When they did it as well, like, oh my, he was like, he actually had a promising rookie season. Like, it was like, oh, this guy's like okay, like he could be in the league for a while, and the only reason he's still in the league is because they gave him that bloody contract. Ain't no one picking him up afterwards.
Yeah,
he annoyed me because he made some nice plays against Orlando. He annoyed me. He made some really nice plays, which pissed me off.
Yeah, but they probably looked to the bench like they've got a lot of injuries, and they're like, "You got to play. Like, we're paying you enough money. You got to check into the game." And he's like, "Oh, okay, all right." Enough of the Bulls. Let's head to our second undefeated team this week, the Milwaukee Bucks. Ed, it's looking strong for the Bucks. They're on a roll, and they're hitting their stride.
I mean, it's the Bucks. This is what we expect for the Bucks in the regular season. It's nothing new. Sort of like the Clippers, they're a safe bet in regular season. They've got the best offensive rating in the league, and they've got the best net rating in the league. So they're blowing teams out when they do win. And I think part of it is so watching again, when you watch the Bucks, you think, okay, maybe you see Giannis distributing a lot more, and you're thinking, okay, maybe Giannis is getting a career high in assists, or there's something unique that he's doing. But I was actually looking at stats, and his numbers this year are actually quite identical to his numbers from 2 years ago, which I find quite interesting with regards to points, assists, rebounds. They're very identical to 2 years ago. So it's not necessarily a career high in assists, but it seems like he's trusting his teammates a lot more. And I think what may have helped was the Bucks run last year in the playoffs without Giannis, where they were able to play as a team, and Middleton was able to be the sort of star man in that role, and everyone else was getting a lot more involved. So it's less hero ball from Giannis. It's more how we can distribute the ball more and make Giannis a screener, as we mentioned before, or make him a distributor. But that's just the Bucks. The Bucks are just what they are. We'll see how things pan out in the postseason.
The Bears are what they thought we were. Only Ed will get that. So for the Pacers game, Giannis actually had a triple-double in 3 quarters. And when I mean he dominated, every highlight was him getting into the lane, doing whatever he wanted. But the Bucks have actually had really good contributions from Bryn Forbes, who had 20 points in that Pacers game, and then he followed it up by having 18 points in 18 minutes in the second Cavs game. But we're not going to talk about Bryn Forbes. We're going to talk about Bobby Portis, who is on a 2-year, $7.2 million deal, and he's averaging 11 points per game and 7.5 rebounds. I'm going to put it out there. Do you think he's been the best pickup for the Bucks this year?
Could be, actually. I never really thought who else did they pick up? Oh, I mean, I guess Drew Holiday has got a better overall impact.
Points by Drew Holiday. I love BP.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Absolute slander.
No, that's what I said, because I was thinking, because Alex just thought the question, I was thinking, who else did they bring in? DJ Augustine first, because obviously DJ Augustine, and then they actually put in Drew Holiday as well. So obviously it is Drew Holiday. On the Bobby Portis note and the Milwaukee note of their other players, Milwaukee have got 5 players who are averaging at least 2 made threes a game at over 40% rate, which is really nice. Having 5 players, at the minimum 5 players who are reliable semi-volume shooters for Giannis. But on the Bobby Portis note, I didn't realize how effective he was on the bench compared to the league. He is 48%, which is the 3rd best for off the bench, which is really impressive for a center. And he's the Bucks' 4th best scorer. So it seems like the second unit does run through Bobby Portis. And I remember watching him in Chicago, and I thought he was actually really, really good. I did like his offensive ability, and especially with what's his name? Oh, the bearded guy.
The what?
The bearded guy who played power forward.
Right.
Not Mitrovic.
On which team? Nikola
Mirotic. I really liked the combo they had with Mirotic being able to shoot and be a spacer, and Bobby Portis there in the sense of being able to create from the post. Obviously, we know what happened with that relationship and the fist fight, etc., and how that got broken up. But I really like the role Bobby Portis is now with Milwaukee and what he can provide them, that other option coming off the bench.
The reason I say Bobby Portis is the best pickup is because we talk about bad contracts. 2 years, 7.2 million for what he's doing is an absolute steal. And he's putting you need to rely on players, especially when you get to the playoffs. Like, you need to have depth and players. Normally they say around an 8-man rotation, and I see Giannis being able to trust him, and that's something I think is really important, especially, if the Bucks want to take a leap. But yeah, that's just my thoughts.
Completely agreed. They do feel a lot deeper than other years, especially with their bench unit. You feel that previously Bucks auxiliary players have all just purely been 3-point shooters, but it feels like now they can do more. Bobby Portis can get points in the paint. You've got Drew Holiday, who can also has a bit of a mid-range game. There's other elements to their offense outside of Giannis and their 3-point shooting.
Let's go from never lost this week to never won this week, and they haven't won in a long, long time. It's a lot of tumbleweeds over in D-Town. Jay Wild, is there anything that can pick up the mood?
Detroit, man. Motor City, the car is broken down. It's not looking too good. 0-2 this week. As you said, we haven't won. Had a really entertaining game against the Lakers. Just goes to show that when you're the champs, you have no nights off. Because even when you're facing a team that's now 5-17, goes to double OT. It's in terms of like final positives. People that I shouted out earlier on in the first time I covered them, like Josh Jackson, DeLon Wright. In these big games, they're doing well, but it's just that element of consistency that's not quite happening there. The record is what it is, and at the moment, they're not getting it. Their lead assist man is DeLon Wright at 4.7. That's their leading assist player of the team. Now they're hovering around 20 to 24. Most assists in the league. There's like point difference between them. They're officially 20, but there's not much difference between those 4 places. They need to get something different. They've obviously just made the trade with Derrick Rose and Dennis Smith Jr. Coming in, which they're taking a bit of a gamble. They honestly want to get rid of an older Derrick Rose and bring in a younger Dennis Smith Jr. But he's somebody whose career hasn't quite panned out the way that people thought that it might. But that point guard role is crying out to be filled in Detroit so that they can get something moving. Dennis Smith Jr. in his rookie season averaged 15 points, 5 assists. That's pretty good for a rookie season, but unfortunately it kind of went downhill from there. I think part of it was to do with the fact that he started off in Dallas. He averaged 2.8 turnovers, which if you play for Rick Carlisle, he's notorious for benching guys that average too many turnovers, even if they are the main ball handler. So from there it went downhill. As I said, I think that might have destroyed his done some bits to his confidence. He went to New York, had a bit of a resurgence, but over the past 2 previous seasons, he's only played 55 games. So we haven't really been able to see a lot of him over the past 2 years and this year as well. I'm not saying that he's going to be the saviour of Detroit, but I just think the prospect of Dennis Smith Jr. is a little bit more exciting than an aged Derrick Rose. They're also, it hasn't been completely specified yet, but they've got some stuff in future drafts as well, given the risk they're taking in Dennis Smith Jr. as well. So, look, I mean, with the way that the season's gone, and the decline of Blake, I think they're now, well, they kind of have no choice but to kind of bottom out, as Bray puts it, from when he thinks what the Kings should be doing, Detroit is doing.
So they're blowing it up. So, I mean, they can't really move Drake. They can't even move Blake.
It's hard to say. Drake
and Blake. They can't move Blake because he's got a ridiculous contract. So that's going to be tough to move. I know in the Dennis Smith exchange, they got a next year 2nd round pick, which is not.
Oh, that was it. Right. Oh, okay. I couldn't find that. That's what it was. Sorry.
Yeah. Who knows what that turns out as. But they have nothing to lose. This, the Dennis Smith experiment is ongoing. The only way is up for this team. But go on, Wadi.
Yeah, I was just to the point about Dennis Smith. Look, at his limited peak that we saw, okay, I've obviously alluded to the fact that at the end of the game, you don't necessarily want. You never feel like Jeremy Grant was going to be the guy to assert himself there. Dennis Smith Jr., and the way he plays, he can shoot off the dribble. He's good in a pick and roll. He can finish through contact and layups. I kind of compare him to a little bit of a bigger, slightly stronger Mike Conley at his peak. Similar numbers as well, actually, if you were to spread it out over a long time. Obviously, Mike Conley has that longevity. But the ceiling of Dennis Smith Jr. is a lot better than what we've seen. So I would really like to see it pan out for him. We obviously shouted him out last week because you and Ed were talking about how the fact that when he was talking to the Knicks, he said he wanted to play for the Westchester Knicks, their G League team. So he's obviously got a good work ethic. He obviously wants to, build himself back up. This isn't somebody that's just, he doesn't want to bounce around.
My suggestion for Detroit is put Josh Jackson in the starting lineup. Guy's playing really well. Maybe they need him for bench production, but it's clearly not working at the moment. Switch up the lineups. Try something more. They did it with Sadiq Bey. They started him in the Suns game, which they ultimately lost because they only made 7 threes. They shot 60% from the line, 22 turnovers. Yeah, it's annoying about the Lakers game as well because they had chances to win it and they just couldn't pull it out. And it would have been their 2nd win against LA, which would have been great.
Absolutely. Before the OT, Jeremy got the shot. He got a really good shot. That's the kind of shot he can make. But it just front rimmed and it didn't go in. Sometimes it bounces that way. But, it's just, if they can do that against the Lakers, they just need to be more assertive in other games. Like, I need to spend more time on what the exact differences were. But as you say, it's like when you're playing the Lakers, it's almost like your adrenaline's going. So they're being that much more aggressive with it, whereas against other teams, maybe not so much, which is why they're not shooting as well.
Can I ask one question? I'm not sure if you'll make the cut. Just really intrigued to know what's happening with Killian Hayes. Like, what's happened with him?
So with Killian Hayes, he is in the next 8 weeks, he's going to be reassessed, reevaluated to see if he can come back. I believe it's his hip.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So he unfortunately is out at the moment. But I mentioned before about him being a lot slower than a lot of people at his position. That's actually something else that Dennis Smith Jr. Brings over him, is speed at that position, which is something you need in the guard. So basically, my evaluation of this whole Dennis Smith thing is that he brings a lot of things to them potentially that they are missing.
Well, to go from no wins to another team that has had no wins this year, actually it's going to be a very sour end to the end of this division because it's not looking good. This team is a playoff team and they went 0-3 this week. the Indiana Pacers. They're now at 500. Bray, how are you feeling about the Pacers?
Yeah, it's been a tough little slide for the Pacers. They had their 3 games this week were against the Bucks, the Pelicans, and the Jazz. Now, the Bucks have been streaking a bit. The Jazz have definitely been streaking a bit, so you can't be too mad at that. The one with the Pelicans was super close. Miles Turner had a chance to win it and couldn't get it done. But it's I'm not too bad for them because their team is down a scorer because in that trade that they made, they basically were like, okay, Oladipo's not working. We'll get back Karis LeVert, thinking that's 20 points a game that he could come in and bring. Obviously, he's had health issues and really hope he's going to get better soon and get back on the court. We've had some good news from him and nothing bad come out yet. So that's a good sign at least. The other guy who would be a great scorer for them is TJ Warren, who is out at the moment as well. So they just haven't got enough scorers on the court. And the Holiday brothers are really good, but they're not quite filling that gap. And the other thing is that they kind of changed up their defense a bit from last year. They're still getting into the scheme. It's been a little bit inconsistent on defense, but they have had this massive bright spot in Miles Turner, who is averaging 3.9 blocks a game. That is the most in 20 years. Like, it's absolutely insane. They're playing this zone to funnel everything into him. He actually fractured his hand in January, and they were like, "Oh, you're going to miss a couple of weeks." He went, "What? Like, no, I'm going to keep playing." And they're like, "Well, okay, fine. It will still heal. It's just going to be really painful for you, mate." And he was like, "Fine. I'll just go and average the most blocks per game in 20 years." Then, so he's been an absolute animal. There's been talk that he wants to go after the Defensive Player of the Year award. Whether if they can maintain a top 10 defense and he can be the leader in blocks like he has been, there's definitely a chance. There's a case to make, but he's been really, really good. So big shout out to him. But other than that, it's been a tough little stretch for him.
Shout out to Sabonis, who will be an all-star. He better be because he had a career high in the Bucks game. He had 33, 12, and 6. But I'm bringing it back because it is time for Alex's stat line of the week. In the Pelicans game, my man, TJ McConnell, had 9 points, 2 rebounds, and 15 assists in 28 minutes, which is nuts. And I wanted to give him a shout out, and he's got a dear place in my heart, and I hope that he always just plays well. Yeah, the Pacers haven't shot well. Bray, just to go off the common theme, so the Pacers started 4-1. They've gone 8-11 since then. Out of the 10 remaining games in February, 5 are against teams with a winning record. It seems unlikely, but could they drop out of the playoff picture?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, the West is an absolute bloodbath, and the East is a cakewalk. Look at it. Honestly, the Hawks are the 17th best team in the league by record.
Oh, day.
Honestly.
Where are they in the standings, bro?
What?
Where are they in the standings?
The Hawks are the sixth. They are the 6th team. So, out in the top 16 teams in the league, only 5 of them are from the East. It's literally they've got a lot of breathing space, and the games they've got coming up. You mentioned they're against teams with winning records, but they're super winnable games. The next one's against the Nets, which is tough. But after that, they've got the Pistons. That's probably, you'd hope an easy win for them. The Hawks, which is totally winnable. They actually have a better record than the Hawks. They've got the Bulls, definitely a win. The Timberwolves, definitely a win. The Rockets would be tough, but again, they're another 500 team. They've got the Spurs, who have been okay recently, but again, I think everyone should be looking at the Spurs and saying we can win this. And then they've got it starts to get a bit harder with the Warriors and the Celtics, but they've got they've got opportunities to get a couple of games above 500, give themselves some breathing space, and yeah, there's no way they're falling out of the playoffs.
GM's response? I saw a couple of your faces.
Did you listen to anything I said about the Spurs?
It's just the Spurs, man. They've got
all right.
like they're. I know.
Yeah, it's
they're
only
like-
the team
they're
that hasn't missed the
coaching,
playoffs in like 20 years. It's only Spurs.
Well, they did miss it last year, but we're not.
I know, but
Yeah,
apart from
they
that-
missed it last year, but but I don't know what it is, and like this will lead into your Spurs narrative, to be perfectly honest, because I just find them really boring, and I just look at them and I'm like, oh yeah, like it's always a winnable game with the Spurs.
So I would love to put 6 guys on the floor and just have both the Holiday brothers guarding Trey, and neither of them will stay in front of him. I can't believe that you're saying that the Pacers are going to beat the Hawks easy. That's nah. Clint's going to be mad because Miles Turner is leading the league in blocks, and Clint is meanwhile getting 10 blocks on Timberwolves. You can't be telling me that's an easy win. No way.
I mean, I'm just looking at whether they've got a better record than the Hawks. Like, I think they're definitely a better coach team. Obviously, Trey's got the superstar power, probably more. He's probably the best player on the court there. But it's one of those ones where it goes other way. Like, if one team shoots poorly or if someone gets into foul trouble, like it's one of those ones that you go in going, yeah, we can definitely win this. Whereas if you go into the Nets game, you're going, fuck, this is going to be a tough one.
Yeah, that's true, but yeah, I just don't think you can be taking nights off. I mean, it's man, I'm speechless.
We're going to revisit this.
Yeah.
Let's head over to the last team. So we've had 3 teams in a row that haven't won a game this week. It's a real rough stretch for the 6th man and the picks. Lancashire Lambert. Let's close it out with the Cavs. 0-3 this week, 10-14 overall. Talk to me about the Cavs.
Dull. Just dull. Like, the Cavs, since they beat the Nets back to back, they've gone 2-7. Those 2 wins were against the Pistons and the Timberwolves. Granted, the five of those 7 defeats were against the Celtics, Lakers, Clippers, and 2 against the Bucks. I kind of expect that. But they've just become that team that wins the games you expect them to win and loses the games you expect them to lose. Yeah, this week, losses against the Clippers and 2 against the Bucks. Granted, the most recent win was against the Timberwolves, a narrow win in which Jarrett Allen made his first start for the Cavs and got 23 points, 18 rebounds, which was a great performance from him. But the main thing I want to talk about with the Cavs is I've just pulled out some stats, so listen to this. So they shoot the least amount of threes in the league, and they scored the least threes in the league. So you think, all right, they must shoot a lot of 2-point shots then. Yes, they do. They're second in the league for 2-point attempts. Is that good? No, because they're only 49% from 2. Only 4 teams are worse. Okay, well, they must at least get to the free throw line then. Yeah, ish. They're actually bang on for free throw attempts. Is that nice? No. They have the second worst free throw percent in the league. Only the Pelicans are worse. What does all of this lead to? They have the second lowest points per game in the league. Only the Knicks are below. They score 103.6 points a game. It's shit. They're boring. They're dull. Turn them off.
Are you okay, Matt? Matt, are you okay? Do you need a cuddle?
Yo, this is a Matt thing. You're turning into Bray. I don't like it. I think
It's the last spot that does it. It's the last spot. It's like always 5th in the last division. It always is the miserable team that no one wants to talk about. They're the West Brom of the NBA.
I love that. No. Can we talk about, well, let's not forget about Andre Drummond. I wanted it to be positive, but it's not. So he's owning a career low 47% from the field. Before the last game, he had 5 games without making more than half of his shots. And obviously for a big man, you should be above 50%. He's also slipped to 2nd in rebounding behind Clint Capella, who we just spoke about. So my question to you, Matt, what should he be doing differently? Do they need to put him into different situations? Are they putting him in situations that he's not succeeding in? Is it Jared Allen coming in?
I don't even think it's like the Jared Allen effect, because Jared Allen actually hasn't really come on that much, and when he does, his form has been iffy. So it's not exactly given the space for Drummond to go, and he's had the opportunity to go and like be himself, but he just hasn't. It's just been poor from him. Yeah, they're not even a good team at rebounding anymore. Granted, when they were at the start of the season, when Drummond actually started quite well, he's just really dropped off of late. The actually only real positive around the Cavs at the moment probably is Colin Sexton, who probably could be an all-star. He's on 24 points per game. He's 49% from the field, 43% from free. He's the only real positive at the moment. But yeah, Drummond, who's like, he's their big name. He's just not performing right now.
It's all right, man. I'll put you out of the misery, and we won't speak about Cleveland. Don't worry.
To be fair, they're third in the division. The Bulls and Pistons have got a worse record, so the Cavs aren't doing too badly. To be fair,
if it's against Pistons, and
they're gonna come forth.
Yeah,
but when I say that, like they're winning the games they should and they're losing the games they should, the next few games are against the Suns, loss; Nuggets, loss; Blazers, loss; Clippers, loss; Warriors, loss. So they've already lost 2 out of the last 9, and the next 5 look like certain defeats as well. Just grim.
I'm already looking forward to next time we talk about the Cavs.
Yeah, reality is beginning to hit. It seems like it, but I want you to stay positive, because we need to keep positive. You know, if they aren't playing well, you know, let's pick out something positive. Maybe just something. You know, like you said, Colin Sexton maybe gets all-star.
I'm gonna give you a little bit of advice. So when things start to get really bad with your teams, obviously I've got a lot of experience with this. You just have to start talking about the people who they should start trading, like just trades, shaking it up, tanking, like all of that. That just blow it up at the first sign of trouble. That's what I'm about.
Yeah, maybe I will reevaluate in 4 weeks' time when we come back to them again. Let's see how we are.
When's Garland back?
He's back.
Is he back?
But he's played. Yeah, he played. Yeah, he played last game. But they've had a slight dip in performance, like in terms of the numbers they were putting up. They did play the Bucks back to back, but we'll see how we are with the Cavs in 3 weeks. So that wraps up the central breakdown. Take a quick break, and then we're going to talk about leaderboards, where apparently people are going to be talking some shh. So let's head to the leaderboard, where there's been some changes. Oh, it's very exciting. Start from the bottom to the top. In 5th place, we have a new last place. Better open that door, because Lancashire Lampier has been letting in a lot of losses. He comes in at 58 and 72 losses with a percentage of 44%. Your best team is the Denver Nuggets, 12 and 10. And your worst team is the Wizards, who haven't played a lot of games. And you 4th place. He's moved back up again. It's Silkbury. I don't know what. He's so pumped.
I'm kicking Matt while he's down, because that last week was like, even the teams we talked about were a collective like 0-5 or something, weren't they? So I'm really kicking you while you're down. I've edged ahead.
Yeah. So you are 62 and 75 with a percentage of 45%. So just a smidge above. Best team for you, Bray, is the Boston Celtics at 12 and 10. You've got a lot of teams in around the same place, and your worst team, your second and worst team is Miami Heat. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. It's not turning around for them. They're not going back to the finals. Anyway, in 3rd place, One Bar Wildy, the Parantic Express.
I've returned.
He's returned to the third place, middle of the pack, where nobody wants to be, as said by Bray. 66 wins, 72 losses, 47% on your percentage. Your best team, it's obviously the Sixers. Come on, baby. Your worst team is the Pistons. Nothing's really changed much for you there.
No, that will remain my. You might as well just start reading out my middle teams, because the Sixers and Pistons will be staying as the bread of the sandwich. I'm telling you.
Damn right. Damn right. House of 03 still in second, still strong for you.
Okay.
74 wins, 65 losses, percentage of 53%. So you're 6% higher than Wildy. You've got a bit of a comfortable lead. Your best team, the good-looking sister, the Lakers.
Of course.
And your worst team, the Chicago Bulls. Let's not talk about that. Move quickly on. House Lasky is still top. Man. 84 wins and 60 losses. 58%. So he's got a 5% mark over you, George. His best team is the Utah Jazz, and his worst team is the Magic. So that hasn't really changed. Maybe that sandwich stays the same. Well, the bottom half seems like it's going to stay. No offense, Ed. That wraps it up. We are 31% of the games have been played. So a little bit of changes. Yeah. Shall we move back? Should we bring back our favorite segment, guys? Let's bring back Shoot Your Shot. Okay. You know, it's been a long time. It hasn't been a long time. And we're back. So, first matchup. We have got Jay Wild v. Mr. Bray. I have devised a question. So, inside the NBA, they did the TikTok challenge. And what it was is FaceTiming famous people and then saying, can I call you back? I'm really busy. So basically just trolling them. So my question to you, this doesn't have to be NBA related. This can be any celebrity you want, is which celebrity would you most like in your phone to be like, look who I've got. So I am going to set the timer and I'm going to tell you who goes first. Both are ready, yeah? Okay, silent nods. Right. Wildy, 3, 2, 1, go.
I am going with the leader of Heartbeat Productions, the PCP boys, Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart is a celebrity that I would love to have most in my phone. He's a great energy guy. But just even if he wasn't famous, he's somebody that knows about fitness. He's a funny guy. He's good to be around. He's always a good laugh. He likes going out. I like going out. He's somebody that knows a lot of people as well. So if you were in time with his circle, you'd have a lot of different stories about different people that he'd meet as well. It's just somebody that you definitely want to know. He's, larger than life despite his physical size. I just think that would be a cool world to be a part of and to say, hey, I got Kevin Hart on my phone.
PCP boys.
PCP right here, boy.
PCP. Got it on camera. Sorry. Okay.
Right. Catch me on a gang.
Right. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Right, so I'm going with a slightly different angle. If I've got a celebrity in my phone, it's not because I want to be mates with them, because I've got plenty of those. They're regular people like you lovely lot. I want a celebrity in my phone because they're fucking whack and they have access to stuff that I don't. So I'm going to keep it basketball related, and the person I want is Dennis Rodman, because at any given time I could call him and it'd be just amazing to see what the hell he was up to. And if he ever invited you anywhere, you'd just be like, I'm definitely going. There might be a tiger. Kim Jong might be there. Like, it would just be absolutely mental. And that's what I want in a celebrity friend. Open some doors that I don't have access to. And Dennis Rodman is opening all of those doors. I'd love to meet Carmen Electra. It would be fantastic.
Spoken like a true salesman. Okay, cool. Right, the ball is in my courts. We've got little Kevin Hart, the Worm. This is an interesting one. I like both arguments. However, I think the person that really sold it to me is wearing his proper team, Dennis Rodman. Bray's taking the win on that one. Very good argument. For what we saw in the last dance about him just leaving to go to Vegas, I was hooked. I was just like, this is amazing.
It's the video of him, like, he's just wandering around, like, in his bikie gear, drinking a beer, and then he just throws the beer, gets on the motorbike and drives off, and it's just, like, absolutely mad. Like, he's just not thinking about anything.
What do you want to meet Carmen Electra for? What do you think is going to happen?
Annie, get in here, Annie.
I didn't bring this up before. It's something I always want to bring up. Did you guys hear about Dennis Rodman's daughter?
No.
No.
Oh, so
no.
she was drafted in the female MLS. So she's a football player, soccer player, and she was drafted second overall in the draft last year. So she's a pretty good football player. I thought it was quite cool. And she did an interview on ESPN just talking a bit about her journey. Yeah, definitely would just work a nice little look into.
That's sick.
Interesting.
Right. Ed, you got a second question? Take it away, my man.
Yes, so my ghostwriter actually did this up for me, so shout out to whoever that is. So it was the Super Bowl yesterday, and we all know the Super Bowl is famous for its commercials. So the question is, sorry, editor, you have to edit that out. So the question is, what is the best NBA commercial? Now, for this, we've got Jordan 03 versus the Lancashire Lambeers. Now, who would like to go first or second? Shout out.
I'll go first. I'll have to go first.
Look at him. I love it. When you
Jordan 03
say
go
key.
first.
I'm ready. Confidence, baby.
In the words of Orlando Blackman, confidence.
Oh,
Right.
man.
Your time starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
So this was a tough one. There's loads of great ads out there, of course, but the Christmas ad especially, I love those ones. But the one which I decided to go with was the Kobe and D-Rose 2K10 advert. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with that advert, Kobe and D-Rose are getting into it, playing a bit of 2K, trash talking each other, saying my guy's the best because he can splash it in your face. No look, dagger. And then basically they keep going back and forth, and Kobe eventually says, well, my guy's got 4 rings. And D-Rose just goes, I don't even know what to say to that. It's just so funny, cut out of character. And it was just nice to see their personalities and wholesome, okay? So if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball.
Coming with the killer line as well.
Love it. Great argument. Great argument. Mr. Lambert, the floor is yours.
Cool. So what I'm going to go with is Ali G did a series of interviews which were clipped into 30-second ads for TNT. He did these with Shaq, Dwayne Wade, Steve Nash, and my favorite is with Kobe. So in this, he asks Kobe, how many springs does a basketball have? Which Kobe obviously says none. So Ali G then asks how it bounces, says it has no springs in it, and Kobe replies because of the air in the ball, to which Ali G responds with a killer line, well, there's air in this room, how come this room isn't bouncing? And Kobe's face is just absolutely dumbstruck. He's never heard someone so stupid in his life before. My explanation does this no justice. Just watch this video. It is classic Ali G.
Oh, gosh, you brought it with the Sacha Baron Cohen. God.
You
And credits both you. Both you did Kobe ads as well. Like, damn it. Right. So I'm gonna go through who had the best argument, and because we're talking about an advert, who promoted the product better? Am I allowed to ask the audience? Because guys, you got any thoughts? Because I really like both of them. I was not expecting Matt to come out with the Sacha Baron Cohen, Ali G.
Yeah, the Ali G is a curveball and is probably one of the best unknown commercials like ever of all time. So I don't know how you've done that. That's incredible. My vote would be to Matt because that is an amazing answer.
Yeah,
I'm taking the easy route. I'm asking your fellow GMs. What are you thinking, Wildy and Rory?
I would probably also go with Matt because sometimes when you go niche, it's sort of less powerful. That's kind of the way up that you go for. This is both niche and powerful.
Yeah.
Rory?
Yeah, I'm 3 for 3. I'm gonna go, especially because we're a bit local as well. Like big place in my heart, Value G. So
if there's any consolation, John, I thought you were winning. I was like, oh, that's such but no.
Soon as I heard it,
you blocked your shot, man.
Here's what I'm thinking. In terms of an overall advert, Bray made the point I was thinking in terms of the allergy one would have worked really well in the UK. That would have been hilarious and would have went down House on Fire and could have attracted quite a different audience. But because it was a TNT ad, I'm not sure how people would have seen the allergy, how they would have perceived the allergy ad compared to the Kobe and D Rose. That's why I was leaning more towards Jordan, because overall I feel it's a better ad in terms of advertising what the product is. And because it is an argument whoever had the best argument, that's also where I'm going. Sorry, man,
Yeah,
I'm going for
like,
Jordan.
who
because of
sold
that.
the most from that advert? I mean, 2K. Financial.
Yeah,
the stats.
sorry, man.
Where's the VAR on this? Where's the VAR?
The battle of the North. We got the two Northerners battling over this, and I have to give it to Jordan.
Oh yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Hang on.
I
So
can't
you
believe
I felt it was a bit-
you asked us for our advice and you just didn't
Yeah, I
use
asked,
it.
but-
Ignore us.
No, I heard it, but I still had my reasons as well. Like, you guys reiterated what I was thinking.
I don't think his headphones are working.
Ooh.
You just couldn't have heard you.
Oh shit!
Let me quickly go to the VAR box. Give me a sec. Let me check the recording.
I believe that.
See what I mean? Everybody gets robbed in this stage. Anyway,
No, I just felt it was the better.
no, it's your pick. It's your pick.
Good call.
And that's
Raf,
not
good
actually, yeah. Jordan.
Everyone has their right to a wrong opinion, basically.
call. Coming out
There we
like
go.
Reggie Miller.
So that closes out on Shoot Your Shot. We've got Bray and Jordan taking the wins. Very, very good discussions. Both great matchups. So we're going to head to weekly winners. So new segment for us is weekly winners, where we want to speak briefly about the games from the weekend that matter. So I picked out 3 games that we can briefly talk about, and you guys to pick out key points. So the first game I want to mention is Kings Nuggets. Kings beat the Nuggets 119-114. However, the key spot for this was Jokic having a career high 50 points. However, it wasn't enough because Barnes had 28, Halliburton had 23, and Fox had 24. What did you guys see from the matchup?
Just Jokic is an absolute monster. Like, to score 50, like, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Like, we talk about Sabonis a lot, and his career high is 33. Like, you have to be a special player to put the ball in the basket that much. And also, it goes to show he's like super fit now. Like, it's a lot of effort. And I don't know if he could have done that a few years ago when he was chunky Jokic.
A bit more clumpy. No, really good scoring output for multiple people on the Kings. Very fitting given Mr. Bray's rant last week in regards to the Kings. I wanted to shout out as well in terms of the value of Harrison Barnes and what he can do. This is why I think, we obviously talked about potential people that could potentially help out the Celtics. If the Celtics are something to get somebody like him, that's the kind of thing that he can do within the team system to help win his experience. But awesome game. High scoring as we're used to seeing now with the NBA. And yeah.
Jokic puts the team on his back. He goes on that massive run. And like you said, Bray, Halliburton, the clutch gene, hits a 3 to stop all of that momentum and win the game for the Kings. Let's head over to the second game, which was the Celtics and the Clippers. Celtics pulled this out away from home, 119-115. We had some really good battles, and especially Tatum and Kawhi going head-to-head down the stretch. Really interesting to see.
Yeah, like, it was absolutely insane performance. I think what I love about games like that is when you just see 2 monsters on the court who are just taking it over and just giving it to one another, which you just love games like that, and they don't come around often. So those performances were like incredible game, incredible.
And Bray, you spoke about Kemba trying to have more consistency. He had a big shot in that game. I don't know if you guys saw it, but the Celtics were up 1 and the Clips got a turnover and then turned it back over straight away. Kemba came up with the loose ball, went to his Patterson step back and hit the shot to put them up 3. It was a big game-changing play.
Yeah, Kemba had 24 as well. Like, you got Jaylen Brown out, and you look up and down the roster, and you're going, where are these points going to come from? It's got to be Kemba, and really glad you could put that together. And really great win for them, missing Brown. So yeah. Also, I wanted to point out where potentially you would expect more on the Clippers side. Luke Kennard, big pickup for them, big contract, only had 13 points.
Yeah, they had no PG, didn't they? Go on, Ed.
Yeah, from the Clippers side, I was just going to say no PG. And also, I did mention last time we did speak about the Clippers, they are susceptible to giving up big games to point guards who can score. And if there was a game for maybe Kemba Walker to go off, this would have been the time, because mentioned before, Clippers really struggle to defend shooters or scorers from the guard position.
Shout out to Lou Will, who also had a good game, trying to reclaim some of that old stuff that he had in the past couple of years. Let's head to Saturday for our final game. The Mavericks and the Warriors, which we briefly just spoke about in the division discussions. The Mavs beat the Warriors 134-132, but really it was a matchup between Luka and Curry. Luka has a career high 42 points, also 7 boards, 11 assists.
Yeah.
And Curry has 57 points, 2 rebounds and 5 assists. What did you guys see from that matchup?
I just want to say something, is that I think I read that Curry and Jokic in both getting over 50 points being on the losing side. I think that's only the 3rd time it's ever happened on the same day. And of course it happened to both of my teams. But Curry's just mad this season. That 57 points he got, that was his 2nd highest in his career. And his career was the 62 points he got against the Blazers a couple of weeks back as well. So he's just come back from that last year out. He's come back exactly the same as how he used to be. He's definitely having an unbelievable season. And probably only Jokic and Embiid, you could say, are definitely in that caliber of MVP candidates at the moment. Curry's definitely in the next level below Jokic and Embiid at the moment, for sure.
Oh, big omission there for MVP. I think LeBron
For Curry?
Yeah.
The king.
Yeah.
I'd say Jokic and Embiid, and then LeBron and Curry are in that group beneath, I'd reckon, at the moment.
Main thing is JoJo's there. That's all it matters.
Such a home.
As long as you put Embiid. Someone's got to be a homer. Anyway, go on. What?
Yeah, I just the Mavericks game. What was really good, as you said, it was Curry versus Luka. Luka got to the finish line, but what was great is that after they decided, look, we have to make somebody else beat us. Soon as he even caught a whiff of a double team coming over, put it down to Cleaver. Cleaver hits the 3 to seal the win. Which is brilliant, because they're really going to need that. You know, if Max Cleaver can hit those shots as well, they've also got Tim Hardaway Jr., they've also got Porzingis. These are all guys that are going to be open if people decide that they're going to double Luka to stop him from getting these game winners. Once they really figure that out and establish that confidence as a unit, then they're going to be hard to stop.
Nice. So that wraps up weekly winners. We'll check back in next week and assess the big matchups and some close finishes. Edge, we head to 24-second shot clock.
So, welcome to 24-second shot clock. The way this works is I will give everyone a category individually, and they will have 24 seconds to name something from that category. They can also gain an offensive rebound, which will add another 14 seconds to say extra names. Now, because this is a single challenge, I've got Jordan right now, who's the only person who's not on mute and doesn't have their volume down. So Jordan's the only one who can hear me now. So no one else can hear me. As you can see, they're all doing their own little thing. Cool. And then once I do it with Jordan, then I'll bring everyone else in. So Jordan, today we're going to be looking at Rookie of the Year winners. Now, anyone who's won Rookie of the Year since it first started in the year 1952. If you get anyone from the 1950s, so up until the year 1959 to 1960 Rookie of the Year, that will be an offensive rebound. You will have 24 seconds. And let me just get I don't need my calculator. I need my stopwatch. So your time starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Michael Jordan.
Offensive rebound.
Kobe Bryant, Damian Lillard, or was it Anthony Davis? No, it was Damian Lillard, Ja Morant, Ben Simmons, mine's starting to go blank. Come on.
Another 10 seconds.
LeBron James.
You got some time. Still got.
Oh, I
10.
still got time. Okay, LeBron James. Come on. Center. Who's center? Kevin. God,
Chamberlain was your offensive rebound. That was a very good shout there. You got one. I don't know if Kobe won it. I don't think Kobe won it his
I
year.
wasn't sure
Let
on
me double
Kobe.
check Kobe. Mr. Kobe Bean Bryant. Kobe. No, he did not. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Very good score. Nice. He's ready.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Cool.
Here I am.
Actually,
That's
well, let's make it interesting. Do you want to know what Jordan got beforehand?
No, he doesn't.
No. Well,
Okay,
you know
cool.
me well. I wouldn't. No, thank you.
We'll keep it secret. So, Alex, you know the rules. You will have 24 seconds. If you can only have one offensive rebound overall. If you get it, you'll get an extra 14 seconds, boosting up to 38 seconds. So the category is Rookie of the Year winners. So we're looking at Rookie of the Year winners from the year 1952 to last year. And if you get anyone from the 1950s, so from 1959 to 1960, that'll be an offensive rebound.
Understand.
Cool. 3, 2, 1, go.
Malcolm Brogdon, Michael Carter Williams, LeBron James, Tim Duncan, Mark Jackson, Allen Iverson, Michael Jordan, Dominique Wilkins, Larry Bird, John Stockton, Karl Malone, Kobe Bryant. Oh no, who wouldn't have? Oh, Shaq.
You threw a lot of names. You were just shouting out names, and I think I don't know about quite a few of them. So Brogdon, yes. MCW, yes. LBJ, yes. Duncan, yes. Mark Jackson, I didn't know he won Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, for the Knicks.
Mark Jackson, 1987. AI, did he win it?
Yep.
Yeah, he did.
AI. MJ definitely did. You said Dominique Wilkins as well. Did he win it? Wilkins. No, Jamal Wilkes, not Dominique Wilkins. Larry Bird, I think he did because he came a bit later. Yep, Larry Bird did.
So many people have missed it.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, you said two people, which I had to quickly write down the name, and it's an absolute scribble.
Oh,
Do you remember who you said before Larry Bird and after Dominique? Who was the last person you said? Oh, Kobe. No, before Kobe.
I said Kobe. After who, sorry?
Who'd you say after MJ, actually?
I said Dominique. Larry Bird.
Okay, Dominique.
Might have said Magic. Maybe I didn't.
No, Bird. And then who's the last? Who'd you say after Bird or last couple? Do you remember?
Kobe. I said Tim Duncan in that time.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I did, bro.
Yeah, you just throwing out names, and I was like, oh fuck. Okay, cool. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You got 9. You could. So the one Jordan said that got him an offensive rebound was Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain was a good one to get some extra time.
Oh, you.
All right, who we get next? Who we have next? Wadi, you know the rules. The category for this week is Rookie of the Year winners. Okay. So we're starting off with the year 1952. And if you say anyone that won the award up until 1952 to the 1960 season, that would be an offensive rebound.
Okay.
Your time starts now.
Luka Doncic, Derrick Rose, Kevin Garnett, LeBron James, Jesus, man, I can't fucking
stop.
I thought you were frozen.
So bad.
I thought you were frozen.
Basically was.
I'm assuming Garnett made it because he was an all-star. He's not on it. KG isn't on it.
Oh, dear.
Who won it in the...
Who came up with this segment? Waldy. Bruh. Brody's tanking this segment.
No, I tank this every time, man.
He did come straight out of high school, so that would have been impressive.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why I can't.
Take it.
Oh man.
Who did win it that year? 19.
While he was frozen, he was like this. He was like LeBron James. And it was like, go on.
I don't move.
It was Damon Stoudemire. So
Portland.
Raptors.
Really?
Yeah. So while that is golly.
1.
It's always terrible.
3.
So
Oh,
I got Derrick Rose and Ben Simmons basically.
You didn't say Ben Simmons.
Oh my god!
You said
said
Luka,
Luka.
D Rose, and LeBron.
how did I miss Ben?
Fuck! Thought I said Ben. Sorry. Oh, well.
I don't know why you're apologizing to me, but
I'm apologising to myself.
right, Matt. You know the rules. The category is Rookie of the Year winners. So Rookie of the Year winners from the year 90 when it first started in 1952. If you say anyone from 1952 to the 1960 season, that'll be an offensive rebound. So you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Time starts now.
John Morant, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Tim Duncan. I'm just naming players now.
Start.
Fuck.
So you've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me double check if Magic won. I think he must have. Magic.
The same year as Bird. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah.
So Magic won it, but I'm not sure Bird did.
Well, I've
No,
played the
other way.
50-50 play.
Bird won it.
Bird won it, not Magic, because Bird had already been around the circuit for a little while, but he just didn't play in the NBA. So
Magic got that
1,
championship.
2, 3, 4, 5. Mr. Harris, you got 5. The final man. Right. Bray, you know the rules. The category this week is Rookie of the Year winners. So we're starting off from the year 1952. And if you say anyone from the 1952 season up till the 1960 season, that'll be an offensive rebound. So far, we've only had 1 offensive rebound out of the 4 competitors. You ready to start? 3, 2, 1.
Derrick Rose, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Bill Russell, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Walt Frazier, who have been the recent ones. Luka Doncic. Did he win? I can't remember. Did Trae Young win? I think they were the same draft. One of them won. Who else? Lillard.
Yeah, I'll take Lillard. You said Lillard.
Oh my god.
I love the fact that you started speaking your mind.
Well, Trey definitely didn't win it. Did Luka win it?
Luka won it. Luka
won it.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Because everything about that season was, the Hawks have been dumbasses again.
Credit to Jordan. He was the only one who got the offensive rebound. The most bait name there was Wilt Chamberlain. So if you said Wilt Chamberlain, you've got some extra time there.
I didn't use it.
We'll start from 5th. So unfortunately, I think this is 3rd, 4th time in a row. Whenever we've done this, bless him, I think he's always been last.
Oh yeah,
three-peat.
This is not my
So funny enough,
I need that college clock, bro. That 30 seconds.
Wildy's 3-peat. You actually got 3 points. So yeah, Wildy came in 5th with 3 names.
3 for 3.
Lord Jesus.
Matt Harris came 4th with 5. And then we have joint 2nd with Jordan and Bray with 6 each. However, low key, Jordan did get an offensive rebound. So I'm not sure if I should just sort of squeak him up a little bit, but we'll keep it at 6 for now. We'll keep it at 6.
Below because he had extra time and still couldn't get as many. More.
Whoa!
Guys, it's not your time. Guys, it's not your time. You're in 2nd. It doesn't matter.
How many did he get?
Throwing me in front of the gun out of nowhere.
Alex did really well, actually. So he was rattling off names at the start and getting them all right, and then at the end he just said random names and I had to like, okay, did he win Rookie of the Year? Just had to write them down. Alex got 9. So yeah, Alex is the winner this week. So yeah, credit to him.
Fair play.
MC Dub, always coming in clutch, baby. Michael Carter Williams. And also, I remembered that Embiid lost out to Brogdon, so I was like, yeah, that sticks.
Yeah, you went Brogdon, Embiid, then you went for all the bait people.
But although I'm literally looking at it and I'm like, that is absolutely mad. Like it just doesn't really compute in my brain. That Ben Simmons was rookie of the year 2 years after Karl Anthony Towns.
He missed the year because he was injured.
Yeah, like that's mental. Like how I feel like Ben Simmons has been in the league way longer than Cat, because Cat's just been in Minnesota just doing nothing.
What are you saying, Marty? What are you saying about?
I was just saying the Ben Simmons thing is great. Somebody tweeted, like, I think the year after Ben won, and there was the big controversy. I can't remember who tweeted about it, but Ben was like, "No, bro, I'm gonna win it." Like, it was really
Yeah, they get him every year. They're like, Ben's gonna win back-to-back Rookie of the Years. It's very funny.
Yeah.
Quite interestingly, 4 of the last 6 Rookie of the Year winners are from outside of America. So you've got Luka Doncic, Ben Simmons, Karl Anthony Towns from the Dominican Republic, and Andrew Wiggins. So it's quite interesting. And I was looking at the list. The last 10 Rookie of the Years are still all in the NBA. So also in the NBA. Can you guess who the last Rookie of the Year winner who's currently not in the NBA?
And it's past 10, like as in it's been 10 years.
Is he not? I didn't realize he wasn't.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize either. Yeah, no.
I'm looking at the list, so I'm not going to answer.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
is it? Wait, someone just say something.
No, you go for it.
It's not. Oh man.
Can you give us a clue?
Man's totally gone. Evan Turner.
No,
you're 50%. You're 50% there.
Evan Turner.
You're 50%
Wait, so,
there.
hang on. So you're telling me his first name is either Evan or his last name is Turner?
Well,
Who the hell is Evan?
Switch those initials around.
TE? Who the hell was TE? You got to give us a clue.
He had an amazing rookie season and then just completely fell off.
Tyreek Evans.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not in the league. Damn. Yeah, he averaged 25 and 5.
And that was going to be what Boogie and Tyreek Evans taking that team to new heights, but tough on Sacramento.
Because they changed his position.
Yeah, that was exactly it. They moved him to shooting guard. If they just kept him at point guard, he could have been like a poor man's Russ.
Yeah.
That's been this edition of Shoot Your Shot. Mr. Alex Ward finally comes up on top after the poor VAR refereeing decision from last time we did Shoot Your Shot. He managed to get his own back. So if anyone actually has got a category they think will be good to do, you can go ahead and do it as well, because I want to sort of flex my muscle, see how good I am at this.
Very interesting. Well, yeah, hopefully someone comes up with a good category. Maybe it's a case of the winner takes it on and then it gets passed over. In week 8, there was a lot of losses, but we've got some high points, and I think the leaderboard is continuing to be very competitive. So we are going to be back next week, same time next week, and we're going to be looking at the Southeast and the Northwest divisions and see how it is shaping up for those 10 teams. So from the sixth man, myself, and all the other GMs, it is over and out.
Peace.
Yep.
Ciao.